Hi, my name is Deacon Jill Singleton, and I'm the founder and director of the Lighthouse for Asylum Seekers. This podcast is designed to share the powerful stories our guests have to tell about their journeys to the United States, the struggles they face as they await the opportunity to have their cases heard in court, and the dreams they have to finally be able to complete their crossing into a life of freedom and peace. In this episode, we meet Kofi, an asylum seeker from Ghana who came to the United States almost 2 years ago. Kofi's story of his family's journey from Ghana via Nicaragua, Honduras, Guatemala, Mexico, and finally the U.S. is riveting and shows just how vital the support of the Lighthouse is in making a critical difference in people's lives. So Kofi, I've been really looking forward to speaking with you today, and so glad that you're able to come on the podcast and share some of your experiences with our listeners. So why don't we start with how it is that you came to the Lighthouse? How is it that you found the Lighthouse in the first place?
Thank you for the opportunity. Yes, when I was coming to the United States, I didn't have any family or anybody to host me. In the actual sense, my plans was not to come to the United States. It was as a result of the journey that I find myself here in the United States. So through conversation and this, I got in touch with some Ghanaians. And then through that, I was introduced to someone. Fortunately for me, that person happened to be my classmate that I didn't know he was even here. So I spoke with this man, and he was so happy, and he was willing to accept me. Unfortunately for me, when I came, he was also going back to his country. So therefore, he needed to find somebody to host me. So he also gave me to a friend. In fact, the friend has a very large family over there. There are about 8 already. And we were about 4, making 12 in normal. So we didn't have any much space. We were always sleeping in their living room. So in fact, life was not easy for us at all. So one day, I and my 2 kids wanted to go on a walk. So when we were returning, then a car drove past me, and then he reversed back and said, "Hey boy, what's your name?" Then I mentioned my name, Kofi. And then he said, looking at your accent, it's like you are from my place, from Africa. I said, right. Then he asked me the country, and I mentioned my country to him. Then he said, Then we switched on to our local dialect. Then we started conversation. So I had the opportunity to speak out to him and then explain my predicament. So out of that, the man was so sad that the things we were going through. So through him, then he linked me to a friend by name called Sally. And that Sally is also from South Africa. So through this Sally, then I was able to get introduced. I and my family get introduced to the Lighthouse.
Okay, wonderful. So let's back up a minute, Kofi, because you said something interesting. You said that your intention was not to come to the United States when you left Ghana. Can you please tell me what were your intentions when you left the country? What were you hoping was going to happen?
Yes, my primary intention was to have a peaceful atmosphere, a peaceful environment where I and my family, I have a family of 4, myself, my wife, and my other 2 kids, little boys. So I needed to find a place that I and my family can live peacefully without any persecution or without any harm. And by so doing, I got somebody back home in my country. He had a place in the Central America, a country called Nicaragua for me. He said that place, we are visa-free with them. It means when I want to travel to the Nicaragua, I'm not required to get any visa because we have a bilateral agreement with them. So I find myself in Nicaragua.
So you find yourself in Nicaragua, and you were convinced that that was going to be a good and safe place for you to be. And then you got there. What changed that caused you to journey on and to ultimately find your way headed toward the United States?
the crime rate over there, the kidnapping, the robbery, the attacks. So I realized that place wasn't all that good. And the lastly was that the language barrier was a huge problem for me. I know it's a Spanish speaking country, but at least I was thinking that in my view, I was thinking that I'll get people who at least will be able to communicate with me over there. But it was a very problem for me. It was very challenging. So we were hosted, we had interaction with the people, we got to know other immigrants around, and some of them had families already here. So they told me about United States. United States is one of the whole world is the best country when it comes to in terms of human rights protection. So that is how come I decided to trek to the United States.
Okay, so you were attracted to the United States because you felt it would give you human rights protection. What were some of the logistical challenges, though? You got yourself to Nicaragua. But did you fly from Ghana to Nicaragua?
Yes, yeah, we'll fly from there.
So I imagine that was not inexpensive. So how were you able to finance this journey from Nicaragua to the United States?
It was at the by help of some friends and other people that we know, other that we couldn't have been able to make it to Nicaragua because it's quite expensive. Though we didn't require visa, but the tickets and our pocket money. So through some friends and our church members, they were able to help us. So when we go to Nicaragua, actually, all our money it's finished. We didn't have money. So I have one professor back home then who continue supporting us. So he will send money to a particular hotel that we were, the receptionist, and then they will go and change. They give us the money. So as we were moving along, this professor friend helped us throughout to we go to Mexico before we crossed to the United States.
That's wonderful. That's really wonderful. And Kofi, can you just tell us what was your actual journey from Nicaragua? Where did you go next? How did you get from country to country? Kind of walk us through how you made it from Nicaragua to the United States.
Yes, because we were in a group, there were other immigrants also moving along. So we would travel by land, we travel by car. Okay, so some of them have experience. Some of them are telling you they are getting information from other people, so they know the route. And there are some people who are there in the Nicaragua. Their job is to also just help you, to cross to the next country. So from Nicaragua, we'll move to Honduras. From Honduras, then we'll move to Guatemala. Okay, and there's some place when you get to Guatemala, in between Guatemala and the Mexico, you need to travel on the river. They have something like a small boat that one person will just sit in. There's no protection, there's no life jacket and anything. They will just cross you just like that. So we're moving from one place to another. We pay money to people to lead us through the path, to dodge immigration, and sometimes to pay some small amount of money to the authorities over there so that we will be able to allow to cross to the next place. So this is how we were moving from one place to another.
Okay, and after Guatemala, what happened?
Yes, after Guatemala, so then we are now in the Mexico. Just after the Guatemala, the river divides the Guatemala and the Mexico. So when we entered the Mexico, so we needed to go ahead and move to the next point, the final point, and that place is quite difficult. The security there is quite difficult for you to cross and enter Mexico proper. So we need to pay money. We have to spend money for people to be able to aid you, to be able to help you to get to the next state.
Now, I understand that you and your family made your way through the jungle, through what's known as the Darien Gap. Can you tell us how you managed that? Because what were you carrying? How did your children manage that? What was that like?
Actually, because the kids they are little, so we needed to buy some medication and other things. So as we are moving, they get sick. So we have a lot of medication. One bag is medication. One bag is their food, and then one bag is our few personal clothing. The last one cannot walk. The last one cannot walk. So my wife had to carry the last one. Okay. My wife had to carry the last one. Then I put one bag at my back, then one in front of me, and then I hold the first boy, and then I carry another bag in my hand like that. So when we go, as we are moving along, one way, I get tired, we stay. We sit down and wait. As you are sitting down, nobody will wait for you. Your life, your destiny is in your hands. If you don't move, then you stay there, and maybe sometimes these boys are around, they come to attack us, they take your money and whatever you have, they take it from you. So I was doing this gradually to able to get to the final point. Then when we get to basically, we have to pay. Again, we spent some days there, so we have to pay to some people to be able to get us to cross to the United States. So at the Mexicali share border with the Arizona. Okay, so we were lodging in something like a motel. So we spent some days there. Today they'll tell you the road is not good, so you need to stay. Today they tell you the road is good, you'll be going today. By in the afternoon they'll come and tell you, oh no, the place has changed now, you cannot go. So we are kind of in a suspension, like we are anxious. You don't know what is happening. We were just praying that we'll be able to do that. Finally, the last day that we were able to, in the one afternoon, they told you, hey, come on, pack your things, we are going. Then, we don't know anybody, we don't know them. So they come, then they push us into the car. Then, into the car, they drove us to a far place. And then, when we were getting to the place, then they just show us, yeah, you see, that is the United States of America. So we have to walk through the bush. And then some people are leading us. So they walk to the bush. They will go to a point that there's a river in the bush. And that river has no bridge or something that you can easily cross on. There's this kind of a tree that they were able to fell it, and then it's hanging on a river. So everybody was going through that. The tree is very tiny, very small. And my wife she was scared. She's not exposed to this kind of life. She has I have lived in a village in the forest, so I at least I have a little bit idea about this, how this thing works. But my wife hasn't seen this before. The kids haven't seen this before, and the river is there. And then when you are walking, the tree swings. So then my wife was crying. She was crying. Come on, dear, I cannot go. So I need to sit her down and tell her, okay, my dear, that is the United States. You see the wall, that is where we are going. Look at the distance we have covered from our back, and look at the distance in front of us. So please, let's do everything to go. If we don't go, we are going to stay there, and we don't know, we are going to die there. So what she did was I asked her to take the lead. And then the little boy, the first boy, was in front of my wife. And then my wife is in the middle. Then I am at the back. So I have collected all the bags. Some in front of me, my chest, at the back, and I'm holding one. And then I held her hands. And then she also held the first boy's hand. And then the little boy was at the back. I will never forget this. Because myself, that I gave encouragement to my wife, I was even afraid. I was even thinking that if anything at all, if there should be any fall at all, I should rather die for them to also to save their life to go. So if anything at all, I was just praying in my head, meditating in my head that if anything at all, I should sacrifice my life for them to go, than all of us going to lose our life. So she was crying. So I told her that we don't go, when the tree is small like that, we don't use our feet to go straight like that. We twist our feet like this. So we cross it. That's it. So I said, take a time. You can do it. Go, you can do it. Go, we can do it. We are almost there. Hey, my boy. Then I'm talking to the boy to try to engage them. So gradually, then at the end, we were able to cross this river.
Wow, that sounds absolutely terrifying. And the pressure, I can hear the pressure that you felt on your shoulders.
Yes.
Now, I know you're not at liberty to talk about your reasons for leaving your country because your case is still pending. How long have you been working on your case? And is there any end in sight? Do you know how long it's going to take for you to have your case heard and adjudicated? When will you know if your asylum case is approved?
So my case, when you come here, it's a bit challenging because you need to put into writing your whole story, what brought you here. Okay? And before you do that, you need to see an attorney. And going to see an attorney, you must have money on you. And somebody that I was helped that I was able to get here. I'm not working. I don't have any money on me. So how do I see an attorney to be able to carry my case? And you don't know when your case will be called. Some people are here like 4 years, they haven't even been called. They haven't even attended a court before. So we don't have a definite years that you spend, like you finalize your case. It all depends from the courts and the number of the number of clients, the number of immigrants that particular judge that you are assigned to is handling.
How long have you been in the United States?
From next month, I will be 2 years.
So you've been working on your case for 2 years
Yes,
still,
ma'am.
and you
Yeah.
still don't have sort of a date for when your case will be heard.
No. So we have attended court a few times, and then they postpone it to another date. My next court hearing is next year.
Okay, in 2026.
Yes.
But in the meantime, you have been able to obtain your working papers and a social security number. And I'm sure that has made a big difference in being able to obtain work and support your family while you're having your case while it's pending and you're waiting for it to be adjudicated.
Yes, I've been able to attend my work authorization through the attorney and the organization that I find myself, Lighthouse. I have my authorization. I have my social security. I have my state ID. I mean, I have all those necessary documents for me to live and work legally here now. When your asylum is put before the court, you are going to count 150 days before you will qualify to apply for the authorization. So in between that time, we are not getting any support from the state or from the government. I mean, how do we survive? It's a big challenge to us. It's a big task to us. And I want to use this opportunity to thank the Lighthouse. They have been supporting me and my family to us since then. The food, what to eat, what to wear, the kids' school, and everything. Had there not been this organization, it would be very difficult for us because you don't know anybody. You don't have any family here. So we couldn't have even survived. They are my backbone. They are our life wire. They have given life to me and my family. Where do I get funds to be paying a lawyer to work on my case, on my work authorization for me? This is a big challenge.
What role has your own personal faith played in the success of your journey to date? I know that you're a man of great faith, and I'm sure you had to lean on your faith at various points throughout this journey. Can you talk a little bit about how that has carried you through some tough times?
God has pushed me. God has pushed us to this far. Look at how we were able to meet this organization. It's a miracle. I say this is the work of God. It's because of my faith. I have been a Catholic throughout my distance, and I believe in my faith as a Catholic, and I always pray and I always meditate that for God, for if anything at all, it should spare us our life, and then connect us to a helper that have been my prayer all the time. And through this miracle, through God, we were able to find ourselves to this. And the organization that we find ourselves is also a church organization. You see, so God, I believe in God, I worship God, and God, through God, has pushed me up to this far.
Wonderful. I really thank you for everything that you've shared with us today, and for sharing your challenges and your successes, your ups and your downs. Is there anything that you would like the listeners to know about either your journey or your current challenges or your hopes and dreams? Anything that we haven't covered today that you'd like to share?
First of all, I want to take this opportunity to appeal to whoever is listening. The perception about immigrants being criminals is false. It's never true. Immigrants or asylum seekers are not criminals. Also, I would like to appeal to anybody who is listening that in whichever way they find themselves or they have opportunity to meet immigrants, whatever little, if they can, whatever little help or whatever direction that they can give, I suggest that they should be able to open their hands and accept what strangers, because as you help the strangers, so God will also help you. And I want to seize the opportunity to thank the lighthouse, because the lighthouse, I can see, is my God in this earth. Because they have done everything for us to live. They have done everything for us to have our life. Today, through the lighthouse, my kids are in school. My first boy, they are getting awards in school. They were the only black people to get excellence award. The other one is also doing so well. It's through this lighthouse, they gave them materials for school, whatever, they registered them for school, they gave them a health insurance. This lighthouse is doing so well and has done so much for us. Now, I have my authorization. I am working now by the grace. And thankfully, another also time go to the lighthouse. Now, my wife is also a CNA, certified nursing assistant. The lighthouse was able to organize funds to sponsor my wife to pursue this career. And lighthouse solely took care of her, and she completed, and she's now working as a nursing assistant. I am hoping that my case will grow and become responsible in the community and also work for the community and give back. I'm even praying that the first boy will become a lawyer, and so that he will also fight for the immigrant. He will also fight for people who are less privileged.
Kofi, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate you sharing your thoughts and the contents of your heart with us. And we really wish you the best in your future for you and your family. And we will all be praying for you. Thank you so much, Kofi. Thank you for listening to today's episode with Kofi. We'll be coming back with more episodes of The Crossing featuring other guests from the Lighthouse over the next several weeks. To subscribe to this podcast, please go to podcast.lighthousenj.org or search for The Crossing at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you find your podcasts. To learn more about the Lighthouse or to support our work, please visit lighthousenj.org. Thank you.